Hey everyone, Melissa here, and I'm so happy to be back with you on the Cocoa Vanilla Studio channel today. So what I'm doing today is a scrap lift of this beautiful layout by Rosslyn Coutts, and she played along with the mood board challenge that we had for International Scrapbooking Day. So I'll just give you a quick look at her beautiful layout. And what I loved about her layout was that it was a multi-photo layout. It had some sort of watercolour in the background, had butterflies, florals, everything girly. I've been working with Legendary a lot lately, and I really wanted to work with Unforgettable. I could have used Legendary and still scrap lifted this layout, but I really wanted to use some florals and some butterflies, and I'll show you what I'm going to be using once I show you the Unforgettable product that I'll be using. So we'll just put that aside. I have these 3 photos of Brielle, and these, you'll laugh at this. Well, I'm laughing, but I don't normally do this, but she got her hair cut in the weekend, so on Saturday, it's Monday now, and she got her hair put into French plaits, and then, she left them in for a couple of days and took them out this morning for school, and her hair was just so beautiful. And when she got home from school, I snapped these photos, and I'm literally scrapping the photos that I took today. I'm scrapping them today. And I don't normally do that because I have a lot of older photos to scrap, but I just couldn't resist. And I've put a little preset over them to make them look better. And I just took them with my iPhone. So that's them. And I, like with this sketch, I could have just done one photo, but I love doing multi-photo layouts as well, particularly when there's several photos to tell a story. So rather than do a white cardstock background, I think I'm going to use this one, which is really gorgeous with this beautiful scripty font. So that will be my background. And then I've pulled some papers for the layers. I think she's got 2 layers. She's used happiness as well. But I want to add a 3rd layer. And I also, I always have a border around my photos. That's just something I do. Once recently, though, I didn't, which was interesting to me as well. Yeah, do you guys analyze yourself with your scrapbook layouts and what you're doing? I do. So I have pulled unscripted, and I'm going to go for this side. It's actually the B side of that beautiful, it's the A side of the beautiful scripty font I'm using for the background. This is a B side of Forget Me Not. I may even use some of this as well. I like a lot of layers. This is a gorgeous little floral. I've seen someone else recently use this in the Facebook community group too. And I've got this one called Garland. And I do have another piece of this, so don't worry. I'm not sacrificing this. I absolutely have to use this as well on something else, so I'm going to go for some of that. What I quite like about my photos is they are neutral, and I think that putting the preset over them has helped make them neutral. What I mean by that is there's not too much colour, so I can pull in a lot of the girly colours. And then, excuse my arms, so she's used a cut apart card, and I want to do that too. And so I thought about maybe this one, but I don't know how it's going to go with the black and white background. I also like this one here, We Don't Remember the Days, Remember Moments. Possibly that one. Not that one, doesn't really go with it. Yeah. And her journaling is on a little label, and I want to do that too. But I'm thinking of building up like sort of 3 or 4 areas of embellishment clusters, and I'll do it in my style, of course, because that's what scrap lifting is about. So yeah, that's my intention. Oh, I forgot. For the butterflies and flowers, and I should put this on, let's get a background so you can see it. I was originally going to use white cardstock, which is why I've got that there. But I've got these leaves, butterflies, and florals that Anita Bond designed for International Scrapbooking Day. They're absolutely sweet, and I've been waiting for the perfect layout to use them. And that's another reason why I picked Roslyn's beautiful layout to Scraplift, because I really wanted to play with these. So I have cut each element in 3 different sizes, not majorly. I mean, you can see there, yeah, just a slight variance. I don't overanalyze myself when I'm cutting out my cut files for embellishing like these ones. I just sort of go with what I feel. So Will I use them all? I don't know. What I am going to do is back them with some of the papers from Unforgettable. I'll intentionally not use the papers that I've pulled. So I've got the 6 by 8 inch paper stack. I'm not going to do them on camera because I think you've seen me back cut files before in my previous video, and I'm sure some of the other girls here on this channel would have done that. And actually, I think it was Tara, I think it was her, she put a video up in the community for International Scrapbooking Day on how to back cut files, so you can go and have a look at that as well. I may even link that below. So yeah, I'm going to get started. I'm going to start working on my background first, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I wanted to do was cut down my 3 pieces of pattern paper into the blocks of paper, adding an additional one. Rosslyn used 2, but I wanted to use 3. So with this beautiful little floral, I didn't want a large piece of it because I didn't want it to compete with the background, as you can see that it's doing there. Both are quite busy. Even though the background is just black and white, it's still quite busy with the words on there. And then this beautiful green would provide some breathing space from the pink and I guess all the black and white. So I'm liking how that's looking as well. And I'm just trimming it down because I didn't want my pieces to take up the full length, the full 12 by 12 length. I wanted you to be able to see the background paper and some of those words around the edge. So I'm just eyeballing it. I just use my finger to mark where I'm going to cut. Okay, sorry about that. I think I've said it on my own channel that whenever I go to do a voiceover, I get my children come in or I get interrupted. So that was just my youngest, Ava. She's 3 and she loves craft foam. So she wanted to come and take away the craft foam, and she loves it because it's got the adhesive on one side, and she likes to wrap her toys up in craft foam. So this pink piece is beautiful, and I think it helps tie in and accentuate the pink on the florals, and I think the green as well also accentuates the green on the florals. So I didn't overly think that when I pulled these papers, but looking at them now, I can see where I just naturally went with them, I guess. And then I am distressing the edges because I'm on a big distressing kick at the moment. It's been going on for probably several months, even this whole year. I just really like the way that distressed edges look. So you know how we all get our thing? Well, this is my thing at the moment, and I don't know if I'll always do it. I have no idea. Anyway, I think it makes it look more realistic, like a stack of papers, and it adds texture. Like you can add dimension with craft foam and whatnot, but I love the texture on the edge of the paper. So now I'm wanting to add the watercolors that Rosslyn had on hers. She had a rainbow pattern because she had a rainbow cake. One of the photos was a rainbow cake, and so I'm presuming that's why she went with rainbow colours in the background. But I'm just wanting to pull colours from the papers that I am using, which is the green, the pink, and then I've also added a little bit of blue just to pull out the blue in those florals. So I'm using Close to My Heart paints. They're quite good, they're quite cheap, and they're really good. You can also just use paints from your local craft shop. They work really well as well. And that's a water brush. It's got the water in it, so it saves me time. I don't have to use a cup. And I just clean it by squeezing some water out onto the paper towel. So this is a packaging technique, and you just add your water with your watercolors. I'm using, you can't see because it's off camera, but I'm using a few colors to get each color that I want. I'm having to use a bit of white to tone the colors down a bit. I'm using that piece of paper towel just to mop up the excess, and I think I may have even off camera used my heat gun. So then I'm wanting to add a bit more, so I've just got some Colour Shine and a few other inks, mists in there. I think it's all Colour Shine that I'm using. I just want to match the colours, so green with green, blue with blue, and pink with pink. Now I could have done watercolour splatters in more concentrated forms, but I just like mixing my mixed media, and I think these splatters will give a lot more They're a lot more saturated, a lot more concentrated. And I'm also coming in with, I think it's Delusions in a white, and the white is slightly shimmery. Now, I don't know if you can really see that on the finished page. A lot of that mixed media actually gets covered up, as is the case when most people do mixed media. But anyway, I think it just, it definitely lifts what Rosslyn did, and I do love the look of watercolour on a black and white paper. So here I'm now committing to my layers. Yeah, try not to overthink this. I'm the kind of person that could greatly overthink it. I'm just going with it. I want to have a pop of the floral and then have the other two colours just subtly in the background, I guess. So yeah, sometimes I find, like with a sketch or a lift, is you get to the point of doing your papers and then you add your photos and you feel like I don't know, you wonder if it's going to all come together. And what I mean by that is I could have copied Rosslyn's layout exactly, but I still wanted to make it my style. And so I think in my embellishment, I take it a bit further because I'm quite a heavy embellisher. And I love the look of more simple layouts. Like I love the look of people that create in the sort of the pocket page, very clean and simple. I love that look, but I can't do it. So when it comes to a lift or a sketch, I definitely have to make it my own style. Yeah, and so here I'm just adding some heavy distressing because I like the look of sort of bent up edges and a bit battered. I love that look on the edge of the paper. And now I think, yeah, I put my paper aside to dry. It's a technique you can do if you're in a hurry. Like I don't have a lot of spare time, so I'm always in a hurry, so I can keep working on a layout without having the background paper ready to go. So it's dried. Watercolor and ink or mist dries really quick. I've added my cut apart and I've gone with the one that I thought I would. And so now I'm going through the ephemera pack to pick out a few things. I love how Rosslyn put the large, like these large embellishment clusters of flowers and leaves, so I wanted to do that as well. She had one on the bottom right and I wanted to do that. I am playing around here with the cut files. Actually, in saying that, I didn't, did I? I didn't add that large one, but I am adding some of the ephemera flowers. Okay, so I'm adding the large one over here, sort of in the middle of the page on the left. Yeah, I definitely wanted to add that because she had added it, but I'm building on top of it, so it's more a subtle feature underneath these cut files because I really wanted to feature them. I've got that, I think it says So Beautiful piece of ephemera, and I've stapled that to the top of my photo. I'm adding a few staples with the stickers that I add later because I love the texture that it adds. So just building, wanting to use as many of these backed die cuts that I can because I went to the effort of backing them and I really did want to feature them as well. I have bent up the inner parts, I think the stamen of the flower. The bits that I haven't glued, I've bent them up. You can't really see it, but in real life you can. And I'm also bending up the edges of the flowers and also the ends of the leaves. With butterflies, I like to glue the centre and then lift up the wings with some pop dots just to add extra dimension. And I'm also adding some of the ephemera butterflies as well. So here you can see I've just added a word, I think it says amazing, in reference to how amazing her hair looks. And I'm not sure if I've stapled that on yet or not, but I do staple it. Apologies for the noise in the background because, like I say, every time I do a video I get interrupted. So yeah, I'm using that tab sticker, and I think I put pop dot behind there as well because obviously it's sticky, it's going to stick to the photo below. I did forget to say that I have popped up my middle photo on some craft foam just to give a bit of interest. It's a good technique when you're doing multi-photo layout so you don't end up with them completely flat, and then of course you can build on top of that by layering embellishments and using more craft foam. So Rosslyn had her journaling on a label, and I definitely wanted to do that. There was nowhere else to put it on this layout anyway with that background. Often I'll write directly on the pattern paper if it's subtle, or on the white background because it can be seen, but this one absolutely needed a label to put the journaling. So I am adding these foam black hearts. Excuse the door slamming. I needed that to tie in the title, which is an ephemera piece called Living the Dream, because if you've got mermaid hair, I think you're definitely living the dream. And so my final touch is to add some enamel dots. I'm just doing sort of a couple around the hearts, and that's my final layout. So Rosslyn, thank you so much for the inspiration of your beautiful layout. I loved lifting yours, and your one was definitely caught my eye in the gallery from the International Scrapbooking Weekend. Make sure you do head on over to the blog and the webpage to check out the other lifts that the other design team girls are doing. And of course there'll be some videos, I think, here on this channel as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be back later in the month.